Olá, sejam todos e todas muito bem-vindos. Vocês sabiam que a LBV preparou
Did you know that
evento
LGW has
super
prepared
especial?
an incredible event? Yes, that's true.
Estamos muito felizes
So really
por estarem
happy
aqui com a gente.
to be here with
Vamos
us.
juntos
So we are here
compartilhar e
together,
trocar muita
sharing and
informação.
exchanging lots of information.
Então, prepare-se porque já
So
vai
get ready
começar.
because it's about to
Você
begin.
pode tirar fotos,
And you can take
fazer
pictures,
vídeos e
you
marcar
can
a
record
LBV
videos,
nas redes
and
sociais. É
you
arroba
can
LBV
access
Brasil.
LGW on
Tudo
Instagram.
tá bom?
LGW Brazil.
Super
Lots of kisses to you all. Have a wonderful event. Bye bye.
Seja bem-vinda, seja bem-vindo.
Welcome everyone to the online session of LGW's 25th International Congress on Social Assistance. And we are beginning our session dedicating this edition to you with our fraternal salute, our legionnaire salute, since its very beginning in the 1940s. It is a real prayer, it is a moment of meditation that calls upon everyone that God is love and Jesus, who is the symbol of fraternity. God is present. Jesus lives in our hearts forever. In this edition, we're going to talk about the impact of COVID-19 and the future of social assistance. We're going to discuss the consequences, the effects on social assistance in the promotion of global citizenship, proposing ways towards the challenges concerning economical instability and social inequality. Our event is being broadcast in English, Portuguese, Spanish, and Libras, Brazilian Sign Language. So now we're going to open our session with José de Paiva Neto, with his representative, Nicolas Paiva Neto. Nicolas de Paiva, better saying. Good evening, everyone. It is a great honor to represent the President of the Legion of Goodwill, the journalist and writer José de Paiva Neto, in this online edition of LGW's 25th International Congress on Social Assistance, and to be able to convey his respect and fraternal hug to everyone here and to the ones who are watching and who will be interacting with us in this meeting, whose topic is the impact of COVID-19 and the future of social assistance. By the way, I'll bring everyone this reflection by Paiva Neto, in which he highlights, quote, "When we manage, we must make it by offering the best from us today. However, we should always aim at the future, at a community, at a country, in short, in a world pacified through the effort of people of goodwill. This means that we should act effectively in the present so that tomorrow be the glorification of what we dare to do now." Unquote. Such is the work of the Legion of Goodwill, carried out with great zeal and professionalism in more than 70 years of work with vulnerable populations in the areas of social assistance and education in our country, Brazil. So, over the next 3 days, besides lots of experience and excellent contributions concerning the event's theme, you also have the chance to follow some of LGW's good practices for communities to achieve social, human, sustainable, supportive, cultural and spiritual development that reflect its most legitimate desires. Thank you very much to all speakers, to the organizers and all of you for your participation. Have a wonderful Congress. Thank you very much, Nicolas de Paiva, representing the president of LGW, José de Paiva Neto. The Legion of Goodwill is celebrating its 70th anniversary in social assistance, and the essence of LGW inspires each one of us to building a better future. Yes, let's go back in time now. In the beginning of the second half of the 20th century was marked by scientific, behavioral, cultural, and technological revolutions. TV was taking its first steps in the national territory. It was a great start to the so-called golden years, but still, within the relations of society, something remained despite all these advances. It was social inequality. In this scenario, the Legion of Goodwill appears on January 1st, 1950. With a spirit of solidarity that is sensitive to social causes, Alziro Zarur founded the organization at a time when there was no structured social assistance policy in the country. Since the beginning of its activities, LGW has worked towards the most impoverished population, weakened by social ills. At this point, it worked in emergency situations and, at the same time, brought education and culture. For this reason, it was recognized as an immediate public and federal organization. On June 19, 1956, the president of the Brazil at the time, Juscelino Kubitschek, and the Minister of Justice at the time, Nereu Ramos, signed a historic decree. The work of the Legion of Goodwill began and expanded. In 1962, while the world remembered the beginning of the Second World War 23 years before, the founder of LGW declared the World War Against Hunger with the charity round, which was helping homeless people during late night. The first action took place on September 1st, and it was covered by a promising journalist, José de Paiva Neto, who almost 2 decades later assumes the presidency of the organization, making it grow exponentially with intense work throughout Brazil and other countries, gathering technical teams to compose this solidarity group, adding theoretical and methodological knowledge to the work. With the 1988 Constitution, which has had wide participation of the people in the elaboration of its Magna Carta, social assistance becomes a policy of social security, a reconquest and expansion of social rights. The social question ceases to be an individual problem and turns into a responsibility of the state, with the cooperation of the family and society. That process was challenging, because what was in the Constitution needed to be regulated, but a major break in the path of the previous period of citizen constitution happened, with thousands of people who wanted a guarantee to their social rights. The organic law of social assistance emerged as a great articulation and negotiation so that social assistance had its legal basis structured, regulating the articles of the Constitution, guaranteeing a model of management and social control in a participatory and decentralized way. Parallel to this, LGW's initial actions, such as the charity round, gave room to several social assistance programs and services. Those programs in compliance with the principles of the National Social Assistance Policy, empowering the family and community ties, besides preventing risk situations to children, teenagers, young people, adults, elderly people, and social and vulnerable families through several information and activities. It is an organization that renews itself, but that maintains its values, its roots, offering its users some transformative, enriching, and indispensable experience, and that awakens in each one of us the exercise of our own protagonism and guarantee rights to overcome poverty, unemployment, unemployment, violence, prejudice, and daily humiliations, valuing ourselves and reframing our personal, familiar, and communitarian experience, and exercising our social participation in the country. The solidarity that motivated the foundation of the LGW in a very simple room in the city of Rio de Janeiro continues to awaken the fight against exclusion and social inequality in an organization that works incessantly for a better Brazil and for a happier humanity, which has developed and consolidated itself in the Brazilian territory with 82 centers, among them basic education, training schools, social assistance, community centers, and shelters for the elderly, along with autonomous centers that are supported by people in 6 more countries: Argentina, Bolivia, United States, Paraguay, Portugal, and Uruguay. A blue heart wrapped in a chain that welcomes, hugs, educates, and protects, from an organization that was born to love and be loved. And now, in order to honor LGW, we're going to invite you to sing with us. We're going to have a clip now that is being released at the LGW's 25th International Congress on Social Assistance. LGW was born to love and be loved. So this is a thought by Paiva Neto, and Anthony Barcelos is connected to that song. So hundreds of participants took place in the composition of that song. It was interpreted by collaborators, volunteers, and people that are assisted by LGW. And we have special participations with Izzy Anthony Gordon, Luciana Mello, Di Ferreiro, Junior, and Tiago.
Legião da boa vontade. Sabeis, amigos, o que é?
Ideal de fraternidade dos que têm a grande fé.
No Brasil, a LGW nasceu. Que alegria nos trouxe este presente de Deus. Renasceu nossa esperança, promovendo nas almas a verdadeira mudança. O amor que transborda desse coração azul nos ajuda a vencer toda a aflição.
Todo elo que forma essa corrente
Se une pelo bem pra cuidar de toda a gente.
Por isso a LBV
Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada. A LBV nasceu para amar e ser amada. Sua solidariedade sem fronteiras se espalha pelo mundo, quebrou barreiras.
educando por completo cérebro e coração.
Dando apoio a quem precisa, sem discriminação.
Traz esperança,
Esse povo sofrido
traz esperança,
é o verdadeiro abrigo
traz esperança.
para o mundo inteiro. E dá orgulho de ser brasileiro. E dá orgulho de ser brasileiro. E dá orgulho de ser brasileiro.
Por isso a LGW
Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada.
Nasceu para amar, nasceu para amar e ser amada.
Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada. A LGW nasceu para amar e ser amada.
Eu visto a camisa da boa vontade, pois acredito num mundo melhor. Você sabe, é muito bom fazer a diferença, estender as mãos a quem está só e ver o mundo sendo transformado a cada dia. Com a nossa ajuda, é uma grande emoção.
Então venha fazer parte. Então venha fazer parte. Fazemos mais juntos como elo.
Fazemos mais juntos como elo.
Levando amor fraterno ao mundo.
Desse coração!
Isso a LBV.
Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada.
Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada. Nasceu para amar e ser amada.
A LBV nasceu para amar e ser amada.
Paz, amor e muito som.
A LBV nasceu.
A LBV nasceu. A LBV nasceu para amar e ser amada.
Que alegria acompanhar a estreia
It
do
was so
clipe
good
A
to
LBV
follow
nasceu
the
para
launch
amar e
of
ser
our
amada.
clip.
Em homenagem
LGW was born to love and be loved in the celebration of the 70th anniversary of LGW with participants from 6 countries celebrating the 70th anniversary of LGW. Anthony Barcelos wrote the lyrics and he was inspired by the thoughts of Paiva Neto. And we had the participation of Easy and Tony Gordon, Luciana Mello, Di Ferreiro, Jr. and Tiago.
Nós, com esse clipe, também trazemos
And
a
with that
nossa
clip,
gratidão a
we are really
você, que é
thankful for you
colaborador, que
who is
apoia o
contributing
trabalho
to
da
our
Legião da
cause,
Boa
to the
Vontade.
cause of
Inclusive,
LGW.
por meio desse congresso,
And
congresso
you're
de
helping
assistência
us
social da
via
LBV
our
internacional,
Congress,
que só se
the
tornou
25th
realidade
edition of our
graças-
Congress,
graças a inúmeras
that
parcerias.
became
A exemplo
reality
da Escola
thanks
Aberta
to
do Terceiro
lots
Setor,
of
você pode
sponsors.
fazer cursos
We have the Open
gratuitos
School
também,
of the
acesse
Third
lá.
Sector.
Também da
You,
Mundial
you
Gráfica
can
e
do
de
lots of
tantos
courses
outros
there,
parceiros que tornaram
and
esse evento
Mundial Printing
realidade. E
Office.
sobretudo você que, com a
They
sua
were
colaboração,
able to make this
financia o
event come
trabalho da
true,
LBV
and
no
you
dia a dia,
that
e
help
que
us
mesmo diante
to
do maior
make
desafio
LGW
social
work.
de gerações, representado pela
And
pandemia
lots
da
of generations, of
Covid-19,
course,
não
are
cruzou
being
os braços,
represented
fez a
here.
sua parte e permitiu
You
que
are
a
doing
Legião
your
da Boa
part,
Vontade pudesse
and you have
continuar desenvolvendo seu
made
trabalho em respeito às
you made it
medidas de
possible for
distanciamento
LGW
social,
to work
trabalhando de forma remota, se
by
reinventando,
working
mas
remotely,
não
by
deixando
reinventing
faltar
yourself,
as populações
and
mais vulneráveis
LGW
nesse
has been
trabalho que
helping
é
vulnerable
essencial e
people
que você
by
pode
doing an
continuar
essential
colaborando.
kind of
Por
job,
exemplo, por
and you
esse
can
QR
help
Code que
us
aparece aí no nosso vídeo.
by
É só
you can
você
access the
apontar o seu
QR
celular
code
pra
here
ele,
in the
por
video. You
exemplo,
can point
e
your
pode
cell
fazer
phone
a
to the
sua
QR
doação
code
para
on the screen,
continuar
and you can
mantendo o
donate
trabalho da LBV,
so
para que ele
here
permaneça
during our
levando esse
session,
atendimento tão fundamental
and you
às
can make
pessoas e que
LGW
possam ter os seus
continue
direitos
with its
assegurados.
work
E
and
isso
to
se dá
guarantee that
também
people
graças
have their
à nossa
rights.
atuação,
And
sociedade
this
civil
can happen
organizada,
thanks
por
to
intermédio de
our
organizações
actions
tão respeitosas como
by
todas
means
de
of lots
vocês
of
aí que estão nos
institutions and
acompanhando,
organizations.
redes socioassistenciais de tantas
We have
cidades que
lots
se
of
unem em prol de
centers that are
ideal.
getting
O
together,
fortalecimento da assistência
aiming at a
social no
goal.
Brasil, um ideal encampado pela Legião da Boa Vontade
LGW
desde
is
seus primórdios,
focused on
Regina.
social assistance since its very beginning, so it's important to remind you that this is a free event that doesn't aim at any kind of profit, and this was possible because of our friends, the lecturers that are here as volunteers. Thank you very much to you all. And now we're going to have our first presentation. The first presentation is going to talk about the work of social assistance here done by LGW. Antonio Paulo Espeleta. He's a specialist in management of non-profit organizations from the University of California, Berkeley. He served as secretary and advisor to the president of the Legion of Goodwill, José de Paiva Neto. He was a board member of LGW and acted as its social educational supervisor. He's currently the LGW social superintendent, and he's going to talk about the social support provided by LGW during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Prezadas congressistas, prezados congressistas,
Congress
é com grande
members,
prazer e alegria que nos
it's
dirigimos
with a lot of
neste
pleasure
momento
and joy that we, on behalf of our social superintendents of the Legion of Goodwill, that we give welcome to all of you.
uma excelente noite.
May all we have a very good night, full of knowledge and learning today and over the next days. Those 3 days, along this event, you can follow all of those great speakers, all of those representatives from the Academy in defense and guarantee of the human rights, from companies and workers, from social assistance, LGW's professionals, who we thank you and appreciate very much. During the presentations, you can see how Legion of Goodwill is acting in consideration to overcome this moment of responsive behavior regarding the social distancing. The LGW, since the beginning, consider the action of social assistance is a fundamental thing to attend the necessities of people and help people transform communities, cities, and our nation. LGW arose in a period of post-war, which the negative impacts were inevitable. And LGW was a pioneer combating hunger and access to people's basic needs. Over the 70 years of existence, LGW expanded its experience beyond their daily activities and emergent situations, without considering, of course, the human being is suffering personal and collective contingencies. Today, LGW, according to the National Social Assistance Policy, acts in the protection-based, social-based protection. Also, we have 73 community centers of social assistance that develop link and activities with the people, besides counseling and rights guaranteed to the people to integrate to the work and labor offices. We have 1 center day and 3 institutional shelters for the elderly people, which we call Long Stay Institution, ILPI. And it's fundamental for us to have a prepared team in order to make the attendance qualified and professional. And that is why LGW is composed over the 300 professionals, social assistants, psychologists, pedagogues, social educators. They are part of a huge team which have the member of those managed general assistants, operational, kitchen aids, and general services. So they can help the elderly, the shelters for the elderly, which totalize over 1,000 collaborators only in this social assistance. The organization is also based on the social superintendents, on the headquarters, with a team with 20 members for counseling, monitoring, evaluation. It is formed by supervisors, coordinators, advisors, managers who is graduated in social service, administration, psychology, and pedagogy. They all work with the CLT working system, So we understand that the social assistance must be performed with a reference team and with prepared professionals. This team is attentive in all situations, in all contingencies, in all social demands that may affect the assisted people, which was not different in this situation due to the pandemic, in order to attend all the needs. So all the community centers of social assistance, we took actions and cares to attend the people. We equipped our center so we could give a fast response to any situation required due to the pandemic. So we elaborated protocols, guides preventing COVID. We gave orientation, technical orientation for all the employees and in all those shelters for the elderly. We elaborated all the procedures for the ILPIs and a lot of other documents such as decrees, documents, legal and work documents that was elaborated to help all the people who needed, besides other documents such as circulars or forms. So, according to the LGW LIPIs that we have in Volta Redonda, Rio de Janeiro, and Teófilo Otoni in Minas Gerais, we elaborated protocols for attending group of risk and for the competent organs. And when we have a visit of those organs, we have all those documents to show and to prove in all those visits that we have all the protocols followed according to what they required. So we understood that we need to double the attention to the family at this moment. It is fundamental. So that is why we started non-presential activities. We sent them by emails. We did a research, and our public had the opportunity to receive these activities through digital means. And those people who did not have this kind of access, they would receive them printed, and we would deliver when they had to come to the center to get the benefit they had, without the necessity to come and go many times. These activities helps strengthening the family ties. We know that the family interaction is a very challenging and conflicting during this time. But we understand that it is where the children, the teenager, and this family, they have more interaction. So we need to support and protect those families. So we need to focus on specific actions to develop, especially children and teenagers, in order for them not to be impaired. So all of our programs, studies and activities here in our LGW centers, where they could be using, we had to organize in order to provide them in a different way due to the daily situation that we face today. So that's why we are reinforcing this work. We are very attentive to those people that live alone, especially the elderly people, because they had to be in total social distance, without contact with neighbors and families, and without having the opportunity to have this contact here in our centers. And also because they don't have the inclusion in this digital means. They have lack of resources, financial, and inability to handle digital tools. So this public was more isolated than the others. And then we intensified the visit to those people. Of course, the social assistants, knowing the situation, the individual aspect, had all the care and protection and security, following all the protocols. And we intensified this work to help those people and strengthening these ties. We have a special attention also to those people that have the rights affected, and due to the pandemic, they were really affected. We have situations such as violence to women, sexual abuse to children, physical and emotional violence. We always had the opportunity to give this assistance, but now we had to adapt and provide this assistance using videos and other materials in order for people to get the information and the help they needed. And all of those materials aim to help those people which are very vulnerable to this moment. To those centers already established, we had the preparation of the staff and all the psychologists and social assistants, and they try to reformulate their work and to help those families in need. Before we started using the non-presential activity, we made a research and we found the results of sending the information through internet. 93% of the family from the Children Future in the Present program said they had access. 64% of the assisted people from the Solidary Vivence program said they had, and 45% of the people from the Full Life program also had access to the internet. And then later we asked them if they had the opportunity to do those tasks at home. And for our surprise, the return was 87% of the family from the Children, the Future and the Present program could do the homework. 65% from the assisted people from the Solidary Society network could also do the exercise, and 85% of the Full Life program assisted people could also do those homework. So those activities that fits for those people from the range of 6 to 15 years old helps the children now. That's why we use the term present, because it's now. We need to promote the social integration, the family ties, social ties, which are very important for the children growing. That is why we maintain the non-presential attendance to those children and teenagers, sending them the activities online. And our return has been a very great surprise, and we're full of joy. You guys are going to be able to see the results during the these 3 days of event, the return of those activities. And also through a research, we saw that more than 83% of the families assisted were facing food insecurity problems. So in a fast pace, they start receiving the support to handle this situation. So we had a food package and cleaning kits for personal hygiene were provided to those families. Most of those families had their meals, breakfast, lunch, afternoon snacks, depending on the period that the person used to go to the center, and they're going to still be there. They were provided during this moment in the centers, but as the presential activities are suspended, so we know that the family spendings have risen. So this work here with the LGW Center guarantee a very good quality of food and enough for all those members of the families. And all those assisted people for this program, they are receiving activity through email, which is very reflexive and ludic, and they still study and work with the development and the integration and the comprehension to overcome this period that we know is going to pass. We need to trust that soon we'll have everything back to normal. And most of those children have participation in those activities, as you will be able to follow and see along with this Congress. When the activities are printed, we do this in a presential way, and if they're not printed, we send them by cell phone. In this case of a video, we record and we send them as a digital service to the people, for children, so they can watch and follow the activities. That's the easiest way that we can make the activity reach all of those people. So LGW send activities that requires the participation of all family members, father, mother, grandfather, brothers, sisters. All of them can participate, and the results are always the best. Considering the pregnant woman and also the nursing women, mothers are also part of this program, and they still get all the assistance necessary by phone contact, by home visiting whenever possible. The social assistance goes to those people homes and provide the assistance. At this moment, those people that were part and the new ones that are now imparted, they have birth, so they become now part of the group, and they also receive material activities to do at home. The benefit of the complete layette is provided for her and for the baby after the child is born. So it is still provided for the mothers. All the partners and leadership that makes part of the of this program, all those institutions and organizations, they are always oriented to work with their assisted people in a way to guarantee to them the rights, and that those rights be met. They are also receiving the LGW's benefits through SOS Disasters program. We implemented this on March, the SOS Disaster Relief Campaign, and we have been providing the support, necessary support to all those families. LGW always focus on doing the activities with excellency, providing seminars, videos, presentations, and video conference, which is very well accepted today, not only for the LGW's professionals, but for all people who can attend those events. So we invite and we stimulate all the professionals and other people to take these courses, study, and every time we have this opportunity, we try to incentivize all our teams to participate. And all of those culture with forums, seminars, and congress, we are now on the 20th Congress, National Congress of Social Assistance. And that's why we are today very honored, and we are very happy to provide this LGW's 25th International Congress on Social Assistance. We're not stopping here, but we are happy to announce here that we are announcing a new department and the superintendents in LGW. It's going to be responsible for elaborating courses, programs for further education in the social assistance, and it's going to use a virtual platform with free offer to all participants. It's a very good opportunity for you Congress members. So, in order to respond to those difficulties that we were facing during this pandemic, depend on each person's participation. We always say to all our employees, we need to get down to work and act. We have very excellent examples, and people starting from the beginning alone, and then started and became a national company. As an example, LGW's situation. But it's important to follow all the directives from the social assistance. Many of those activities can be performed with order and united, because as our Paiva states, social assistance we do with our heart. It is above all love. And many transformations are promoted with the social assistance. And not always those assistance can be presented with measurable numbers, but they make a difference in thousands and thousands of people. World today recognize the response to the solidarity response to those vulnerable families, and that's what we saw during this pandemic. But Since the 80s, our president of the LGW, defending his published articles here in Brazil and outside Brazil, the strategic character in front of this pandemic and social inequality. Paiva Neto, the author, he stated again the globalization of Fraternal Love magazine. It was published in many commissions in the United Nations, and they were in the high-level segment of Economy and Social Council of the United Nations, and the Secretary of the United Nations, Secretary General, mentioned and stated this publication from the LGW. And in this research, Paiva Neto mentioned, quote, "To combat the globalization of poverty, we counterpose the globalization of ecumenical fraternity, which spiritualizes the economy and disciplines it in a solidary way as a strong instrument for reacting to pseudo-fatalism of poverty," unquote. So that's our claim, which is the most challenge we have done already in this world we are facing now. I thank you, all of you, for your participation, and I wish you a very good event. Thank you very much. We thank the social superintendents of LGW, for those who are participating online here: Patricia, Ivonilde Marise dos Santos, Maria Ana dos Santos. I'm going to speak a little bit fast because we have many people here. Mari, where are people from the Presidente Prudente? People, yes, reply. Anderson Garcia, Hilton César Carvalho, Denise Nunes, Mário Sérgio, thank you very much, all of you. Roseli Fernandes, Jacira Carnat, from Duque de Caxias, always here. Solange Martins, Maria Vernes Manes. I'm going to speed up a little bit. Let's see who's participating. Adriele, Jaqueline, Elisângela, Talita, Anderson Garcia. Let's see who is participating right now. Caterina Scalona, Elenice, Cristiano Prano, Stephanie. And also thank you who are participating in the transmission in English, in Spanish, people from United States, people participating from New Jersey. Now chatting in Spanish, Marie Domingo, giving good evening from Paraguay. Rossi Barrancos from Santa Cruz de la Sierra in Bolivia. I hope I have pronounced it correctly. Thank you very much from Paraguay. Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, United States connected in this special Congress. So all those social organizations are very important in this, and that's why it's important. From Ana Cristina Correia Grados Neves, who has a degree in social work from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, an MBA in social responsibility and third sector from the Institute of Economics, and an executive MBA from COPED. She is currently the assistant manager at the National Department of the Social Service of Commerce. The topic of her speech is empowering civil society to face up to the inequality caused by food insecurity.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone and to thank the Legion of Goodwill for the invitation. On behalf of SESC, the National Department, and of course to congratulate for the Congress that is bringing very important topics on the social field, especially now during this moment in history that we are living. I am going to talk to you about the empowering of civil society in tackling inequalities and food insecurity as well. My main objective, which is what I have been working at, is the issue of hunger and, of course, the issue of malnutrition. Starvation is considered one of the worst problems of humankind. And hunger has been really been discussed in 2020, especially because of what the pandemic has been bringing us. The pandemic has been bringing lots of challenges, and concerning hunger, that's not different. So when we imagine an international scenario, a world scenario, according to the United Nations, we have approximately 830 million people that are living in a situation of food insecurity. So we have lots and lots of people suffering. No wonder the Legion of Goodwill has set some objectives towards sustainable development, in which hunger is understood as a goal, as an objective. And why is that? Because it is of utmost importance when we talk about welfare, quality of life, health, especially concerning people that are vulnerable. More recently, the United Nations itself, with its program, with its food program, has received the Nobel Peace Prize of 2020, especially because of its work that has been recognized in tackling hunger, especially in conflict areas in the world. So we know that hunger is a multifaceted problem. It is a historical problem as well. It is chronic. I would say that in Brazil we have lived a better situation. In 2014, thanks to the United Nations, we have left the hunger map, which was a great achievement. But now we are back. Now in 2008, we have come back to the hunger map, according to IBGE, and that's really sad. So we have to think of the empowering of civil society. We have more than 10 million Brazilians that starve. And this, without a shadow of doubt, is a huge challenge. It's important to mention in our discussion public policies. Public policies are something that can make the difference when we think about promoting access to feeding and nourishment, which are social rights that are guaranteed by our Constitution. When we think about that theme, not only are we talking about the empowering of the civil society, of the third sector, of businessmen and businesswomen, but of course we are talking about the government via public policies. That's why I'm mentioning food security. Food security is a kind of policy that has to guarantee the access of food that is good, and of course, and that guarantees the amount of food. And this public policy wants to guarantee those rights. So when we talk about public policies, I would say that we see a huge dialogue between social assistance and food security. And of course, we have other aspects, such as health policies and other areas as well. Because we know that hunger is pervasive. It goes beyond social, cultural, environmental aspects. And I think that the pandemic has brought this to us. We have to have an integration, we have to establish a dialogue among those actors, those public policy actors. If we do not do that, things are going to get worse. So when we imagine food security and public policies, we have certain kinds of equipments called food banks. Those food banks work towards guaranteeing the right to feeding by bringing food that are outside the commercial standards, but they can be consumed. They can be consumed by people that are vulnerable. So that work promoted by food banks was originated in the USA. And this came to Brazil via SESC. SESC was a pioneer contributing to that scenario, especially during the 1990s, 2000s. The problem has afflicted 30 million Brazilians. So nowadays we have food banks that are public, we have food banks that are private from the third sector as well. But now I'm going to talk to you about the work that SESC performs. But I would like to highlight an important aspect. In 2014, each and every one of us, SESC, the Ministry of Citizenship, we all have wanted to create the national network of food banks. And why? Because we wanted to empower that work. And of course, we wanted to avoid the overlapping of functions, of roles, and expand food banks all over Brazil. Many times we work separately, but the national network of food banks goes against that idea. So we believe that world banks, the food banks, better saying, could be united in a more effective way. So within this reality, the reality of food banks, I'm going to mention SESC's work by Mesa Brasil SESC, a program by SESC. I believe that you all know what SESC is. It's the social service of commerce that was created in 1946, and that the commerce social service was created to tackle the problem and attending many areas, the working areas. So SESC came together as a joint effort in order to promote services in areas such as services, culture, entertainment, social services that are aimed at the commerce, of course, but of course as a way to have a more universal strategy. So since the very beginning, SESC has aimed at other people as well, the society in general. And then in 2003, we had a huge call. The society needed to tackle the problem of hunger. So that issue was getting attention via Betinho and other actions. But in 2003, SESC decided to intensify its contribution. And SESC did that by launching Mesa Brasil, which is a national network of food banks. SESC, since its creation, has always been concerned about health, the health of the worker, of course, workers that work with commerce and tourism as well, but also people in general. And so SESC felt that need. SESC wanted to have a structured program and that program would enable and tackle the food security problem in Brazil. That's why MESA was created in that context. MESA is a national network of food banks against hunger and waste. And by saying that, I'm going to talk to you about our crucial roles, our guidelines. Why do we call that network a network? Because we see that SESC can do its part, of course, but at the same time, SESC can be a great articulator and can mobilize other agents as well, bringing together businessmen and businesswomen, other companies to that network. And of course, we want to combat hunger and waste. And why is that? You must know, of course, but Brazil is one of the biggest producers of food in the world, but at the same time, our waste is proportional to the production. So we estimate that 1/3 of what is produced is wasted, not only in Brazil, but worldwide, since the harvest, from the harvest to our table, so along the food chain. So that's a very cruel issue, because if we have lots of hunger, how can we waste so much, right? So MESA wants to tackle, wants to mitigate such waste, but at the same time bringing that food to people, and this food, of course, would go wasted. We do have an environmental issue such as landfills, and we could direct those kinds of food to institutions that could serve food, mainly produce, to people. So MESA has a network of approximately 3,000 donors. And when I mention the word donors, what do I mean? I'm talking about food industries, distribution centers, retailers, wholesalers, small traders, rural workers, people that work in food fairs. So whenever we have, whatever we had, waste, MESA gets there. So when we talk about this network of 6,000 social institutions, such as shelters and daycare centers and long-stay institutions, everything is connected to the program. So we have a strong endeavor that requires a strong logistics. So we have to have an exclusive set of vehicles and people that are able to do that. And SESC keeps that network alive. So that network has a helpful bias, of course. It is really important. People that are hungry are in a hurry, according to Betinho, right? So people that are hungry cannot study well, cannot work well. People that are hungry cannot have fun. So the issue, the question of donating food is connected to surviving, of course. So this assistance bias is of utmost importance, especially when we talk about people that are extreme poor. And we have to guarantee the access to that food, to guarantee their health. So MESA has that bias, has this perspective. And SESC, of course, has an educational perspective as well. So we work with that network of donors and mainly with social institutions. We work with those institutions, topics that can perform a social transformation and they can somehow change that reality. So we have courses, seminars, workshops, roundtables, and those things are connected to topics connected to nutrition and taking advantage of food, how we can handle food, how we can consume in a wise way, and of course social service. And social service is important to make those institutions by organizations such as the participation of social media, participation in social control, legislation, resource funding. So social assistance can find ways to empower those institutions, not depending on SESC and on the government. So that educational work, educational perspective is the great differential of what we work. And without Mesa Brasil cannot exist without the educational work. So when we talk about this network, this empowering network in the civil society, I would say that this is the biggest asset of Mesa Brasil, because Mesa Brasil gets together lots of factors. And what is the purpose? The purpose is a bigger purpose, which is tackling hunger and waste. SESC is the main actor, the main agent, but the whole dynamics is different, of course, because all the instructions have to be taught, have to be explained, so people get together, exchange services. So from the social responsibility aspect, businessmen and businesswomen can donate, can incentive the donation of food, so that is a network that can expand and get stronger. Nowadays, we are in more than 500 cities in Brazil, thanks to our 91 centers. And that's the work that has been done in an operational perspective, so we can donate that food that is brought to social institutions. And from an educational perspective, all that work concerning raising awareness, motivation is done in order to make those people aware of how they can transform that food. And of course, in order to make them have a better diet. And this doesn't mean necessarily huge investments. Imagine you have a pineapple, right? And then you remove the rind off. So if you make the juice out of that pineapple, you guarantee the juice of the following day. So you don't have to buy another fruit. So this is the work that we develop. So now let's talk about the pandemic context. So when we got surprised in March, right? All of us got surprised worldwide. Food banks could not stop, not here in Brazil and not in other countries. So SESC understood that Mesa Brasil should be acting more than ever. We have created protocols in order to guarantee the security and safety of our teams that are in the front line, and we were successful. We had some minor interruptions in some states in Brazil, but we have restarted our program in April, and we imagined the following. If you wanted to expand the network of beneficiaries, we needed to expand the network of donors. So that's our challenge. So we have started a huge program on getting funds, on getting financial funds. We did not work on that. And we have started by doing something different, an adapted work. And we started distributing food stamps. We have also assisted families due to the fact that institutions were not operational. We had to assist those people, those families, because they were in need. They really needed that assistance in terms of food. So we started assisting families, We started distributing food stamps. We started buying and distributing food. We have also started distributing meal tickets, ready-made meals. We have rolled up our sleeves. And before a very bad surprise, we have to come up with good solutions. So our work in the network has expanded, got better. We have gathered other partners, sponsors, and people that wanted to engage in our cause somehow. And we had surprising results. If we compare our donations now to the donations in 2018, the amount of donations has increased by 30%. So if we take into account the period between January and September, we have distributed 38 million kilos of food. And now the people that we have assisted that were in the past of 3 million people, nowadays we have, in fact, the amount of 3 million people that are assisted. So we had a 100% increase in people that are being assisted, if we take into account a family of 4 people. And why I'm talking about this? Because I wanted to tell you the power of civil societies and how they are organized. And those institutions, by getting together and getting connected to other agents, how we can, in face of a very bad situation, how we can provide effective solutions to situations, to problems that were unthinkable, unimaginable. I believe that MESA is an example of that. We have organizations such as LGW and many others. We are partners as well in many states of Brazil. And it's really good for us, of course, because of the spread that we have in Brazil and that LGW has. But mainly because we are getting together and getting stronger to do more to people that need more. So by empowering civil society to tackle problems that are so deeply entrenched in our society, problems that are chronic, such as inequality, hunger, unemployment. We can tackle these problems by creating this powerful network of agents, and each element can do its part, and the whole gets better because of the participation of each part. So this is my contribution to the event. I hope that I was able to explain to you something of what MESA and SESC do. And everyone that is participating in this Congress, I hope that you, here in Brazil or in other countries, I hope that you take advantage of the moment that we're living right now. It is a moment of crisis, of course, but we have to reflect upon it. We have to seek better strategies, better alternatives for us to leave this situation stronger, more united, and more empowered. When we have a commitment, when we establish a militancy for social issues. Thank you very much. And I hope that I have contributed. Thank you very much to you all. Thank you very much. Ana Barros. She's currently the assistant manager at the National Department of the Social Service of Commerce. So, according to Anna, she said things that are really tough to be tackled. So we have to have good resources. As she mentioned in her lecture, LGW is part of that big network concerning food, and is connected to Mesa Brasil, that is managed by SESC in all over Brazil by means of own funding, and thanks to sponsors, we were able to provide good food to families that are being affected by the pandemic of COVID-19. Those families are being assisted by reference centers, social assistance centers, and other institutions that act on social assistance. So this is the campaign of LGW, SOS Disaster Relief Agency, and that campaign was able to provide 2 million kilos of food, not only taking into account food per se, but also cleaning kits for families to have good hygiene in order to preserve their health. And even though it has been done remotely, we have been doing that. So for the ones who are following our presentation, you are most welcomed to follow the work we do to families that are impoverished. By means of that QR code, as you can see on your screen, you can point your cell phone to it and donate in order to guarantee the maintenance of that work. So I invite you all, and of course people that are following us via YouTube. We have our live session. Ana Cristina said in the chat, our institution called Madalena Caputo is really thankful for the partnership. SESC has been doing a great job in Mesa Brasil as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ana Cristina. Anderson Garcia as well, he's in the chat. He says it is a very good opportunity to talk about this issue, especially during the moment we are living through. Eronides Veloso says, among many other events that I have been attending, I would say that LGW's event has been the most dynamic. It has been clear and accurate. Thank you very much. On behalf of the Legion of Goodwill, Eronides, Camila Du says, we are social assistance students from Unopar, from Jaguarão, do Rio Grande do Sul. We are really thankful for being here in this event. We're really thankful for sharing knowledge with us. Maria de Socorro Silva also says, on behalf of the Association of Rural Producers from Villa São Francisco, we are really thankful for LGW's work, for everything that it has been doing during the pandemic, by delivering food stamps, and of course by doing a permanent work with social assistance workers. And now we can continue. Yeah, people are talking in the chat, right? Yes. So you that are following our Congress, you can reflect upon the topic as well. You can get to know what the Legion of Good Work does. Tomorrow we're going to have Professor Abigail Torres. She's a researcher as well from PUC São Paulo. We have Professor Carlos Ferrari. He has a master's degree from USP, and he creates sites as well. He was also the president of the social assistance course, and we also have Ana Maria Saliuana, and she also represents social assistance in Bolivia. She has been working with the Legion of Goodwill. And Priscila Andrade, she's a professor from the University of Brasilia. She has a master's degree and a doctor's degree as well. So those reflections can show us how we can promote social assistance amid the very delicate moment we are living nowadays. And we can have good public policies that are really important. Yes, so starting at 7:30 p.m. Thank you very much, Luis Soares. He's really thankful for the event. He's congratulating LGW as well. Regina also mentioned the World Food Program.
internacional da Legião da Boa Vontade, vale ressaltar.
It's important to say that the winner of Nobel Prize as well is congratulating for the work that we have been doing concerning food security. He's here with us sharing his experience. She's talking about Bolivia as well. I would like to be thankful for people that are here in the chat. We have Juan Carlos, Rose Alves, Flávia Dutra Franco, Elisângelo Galdino, Thalita Correa Soares, Elisângela Matos, Fernando Grisolia. Yes, he's saying that he's going to be here tomorrow. Suelen Rezende, Pascaz e Susana de Lima, Cristina da Silva. Thank you very much. And Deborah Freitas, Daiane Novaes, Ana Barros. She's being thankful for Ana Barros for everything that she said. That's a great work. Congratulations. So she's really thankful for Ana Barros' comments. And we also have Moisés Alberto de Souza Lima from Araçatuba, São Paulo. And we have many other people that are here in the chat in our live session. And then we can talk to you in the chat. And thank you very much one more time for the presence of you all the lecturers. There were volunteers that made this event a huge event for all the community of people that work in the area, that people that are interested in social assistance, and that does make the difference, of course, to our Brazilian population. And now we have our Legionnaire salute. God is present. Jesus lives in our hearts forever.
Sempre.